Hello guys, in this video we will take a high level overview of how our traditional IT infrastructure used to be. So so let's see first how website works. Okay, let's see that. Suppose you go to Google and you just make a request of W3 school. Okay, you search for W3 school. So what happens? Google does the work and Google searches on the internet. Is there something related to this keyword W3 school? Oh, yes, Google find it out. So Google lists them on its search engine. Okay, so this is the first link we want to go over. So we want to see the contents of this link. Okay, what is there? We want to access this web page. So we'll click on this link. So what happened when you clicked on this link? You basically told that I want to make a get request to this website because I want to get the web page associated to this hyperlink. Okay. So what happened behind the scene when you clicked on the link? It went over the network and it reached to the server of this website W3 school. The server of this W3 school validated this request and found it is a valid request and returned the response to the client through the network, again through the network. Always there is a network between the client and the server through which they are talking to each other. Okay, like requesting and responding to each other. So this is how basically very high level overview of how website works. Okay, so you basically make a request, it goes over the internet and it finds the relevant server validate the request and then send you back the request. Okay, so let's see that with this illustration. So this is your client who is making the request. The request is going through the network and network is finding the server related to that request. That server validate the request and then send the response to the client through the network. Okay. Now, for the server to know to which client the request came and which client it needs to send the request, it needs to know the address of that client. And for that address, we have IP address. Okay, IP address. So server will send the request to this IP address. Okay. So it will go to the network will find out where this machine is, and then it will deliver the content to this client. Okay. So IP address is a very crucial thing to identify the devices on the internet. Likewise, we also have server IP address. Okay. This is unique IP address, actually numerical unique address. Someday we will see this, not today. Okay. So this is how it works. So let's move forward. So you can understand this request response cycle through analogy. Suppose you send a post. So you go to post office and send your post. Suppose you are sending some documents. So what you will write on the document? You will write on the document the address of receiver and address of yours as well. So what it will do, the post office, mm, the letter will go through the network of the post office and reaches to the receiver's address. Okay, and same wise, if the receiver wants to send you some request or some response, then he will look into the address of yours. He or she will again send it to post office. Post office will use its network and then send to you. Okay, so this is how it works. It's a very simple analogy, and this can be very related to the how website works. So let's move forward. So now let's see what is a server. So see, in general, anything which serves. is a server. Anything which serves is a server. Okay. But now let's come into the technical thing. So in our computer technical things, server is a any machine. It is basically a computer itself, but it is designed or implemented in such a way that it can have heavy loads and it can serve the pages. Okay. And so, as I said, server is also a computer, so it is going to have CPU, but a powerful CPU because it needs to perform a lot of computation. It needs to perform uh, a lot of computation, which request to validate and if it is right and response, because it keeps on getting a whole lot of requests. Okay, so it needs to do the computation, and according to that, it needs to send that uh, response, and it needs RAM also. Okay, it needs memory also. So that too very high. So it can be analyzed like if you have computation power and you have memory, it is like brain. Okay. So kind of like of the function of the brain. Okay. Now you need storage data. Now a server needs to host like PDF file, video file, audio file. Okay. Your HTML pages, CSS pages, like the website building things. Okay, so it needs to have storage. So for that, we need to have storage and we need a proper database so that we can do querying all the data which the server is having. Okay, now to get connected, it needs to have router, switch, DNS server, etc. etc. Okay, so let's move forward. So let's see some IT terminology. So these are basic IT terminology. So network consists of like it is cable, like you might have seen like Geo fiber, Airtel fiber, they run through cables. Okay. Then router does the task of routing the request. Okay. And servers connected with each other. They all are connected with each other. So what is network? Network is interconnectedness of the relevant things. Okay, or devices. Router. Router is a networking that forwards data packets between computer networks. They know where to send. So, as the name suggests, it is the router. Its task is to route to the uh, correct resource. Okay, like in this case, computer. Okay, switch take a packet and send it to the correct server client on your network. Okay, so we saw like in W3 school. So it goes to the router, then it reaches to switch, and switch decides which server it needs to send so that it get proper response. Okay, so let's move forward. So till now we understood that in order to have this internet thing which we are seeing today and living and become a part of life and has made our life very easy, it is indeed very important to have server. Without server you can't imagine internet, it is nothing. Okay, so let's see how initially uh, server we used to maintain them, store them, configure them, and these sorts of things. Okay, so traditionally what we used to do, like suppose if I want to open a website today, okay, and it's a suppose video sharing website or something or a social networking website, okay. So initially when cloud computing was not introduced, so people used to have either rented house or their home or garage. They used to keep the servers there and maintain there. Okay. But what happens if the business is scaling up? So you need more server because you are getting more requests, 10 times, 20 times request per day than it used to have. Okay, so you need to scale up. So then you migrated to office having a larger space and maybe dedicated server rooms and all. And there you are maintaining all the servers and configuring them. Okay. But even in office, taking office, renting office, and such a high place, it becomes very costly and time consuming as well. Okay, so data centers, so like voice it used to have, but what was the problem in that? It used to be very time consuming, and it used to be very costly. Okay, so let's see how it used to be. See, you need to pay for the net for the data center. You need to pay for the power. Obviously, you need to run computer servers. So you need power supply. You need cooling as well. You need maintenance. Suppose there is some issue in hardware issue or some software issue in some of the server or in one server, and you need to have maintenance. Adding and replacing hardware takes time. Obviously, you need to order them, you need to get it delivered to you, then you need to take it to the destination location, then install there, and then whole lot of configuration. Obviously, it will take a lot of time. Okay, scaling is limited. So scaling is limited as we saw, like in home, it is like to a certain amount of servers you can configure there. In office also, after a certain point of time, it becomes very costly so that you can't afford. Okay, so scaling is limited, and you need to hire a team which is not uh, to for your business, but to monitor the infrastructure. Okay, so that is also an headache to have a team who is monitoring 24 by 7 the infrastructure. Now, how to deal with disaster? Now, these are very uh, disastrous thing. If any disaster happened and you lost your servers and all, you lost all data and everything. So it is a huge loss. Okay. So these were some of the problems with traditional IT.